Vicky says, "Hi, Brent. I've been struggling these last few months. Seems even more intense now. Physical symptoms, mental, and emotional. I could do with some reassurance and encouragement to surrender it all. I feel very cut off from everything." Yeah, this is a difficult place to be, Vicky. But of course, as we know, it's not necessarily unusual. Not to minimize the difficulty, not at all. But of course, things do get quite intense physically, emotionally, mentally. Um, Through it all, it's useful to have some meditation practice to fall back into, to create some space around it at times, if we have access to that spaciousness. Sometimes we get cut off from even that. And I see you mentioned you feel very cut off from everything. Sometimes we get cut off from other people, the world. Sometimes we also get cut off from, these meditative spaces that we can escape into. And so we really have to sit with what's coming up and feel it all fully. It can be quite challenging. One thing to note here, I was just in touch with someone over email, and they expressed something really clear to me about their experience. They said, for all this time, they were going through some pretty intense pain, emotional pain, physical pain, like how you're describing. And their idea of moving through these purges, these purification periods, was that they had to endure it, that they had to sort of clench their fists, clench their jaw, and just ride through it. But there's actually a different approach that we can take as well, which is surrendering into it and allowing it to arise with total acceptance without resistance. Often it's the resistance to what's coming up that causes the most amount of suffering, not so much the experience itself, but the emotional component of resistance. I don't want this to be here. Why is this here? It's uncomfortable. The thought stream commenting on what's happening can make it exponentially more challenging. So we can imagine our system as an open channel through which all of this is arising and flowing through. In time, if we have access, we can find the sort of place of witnessing consciousness, silent witness, where we just observe it flowing through like a river. That can be very helpful. If we have access to the witness, another thing we can do is go one step further and not only just observe impartially as all of this is coming up, but if we have the courage, and we don't always have this type of courage, but we can actually look at some of the difficulty and say, you're uncomfortable, but everything here is part of the divine. Everything here is part of the light. So you too must be also part of the divine light. Difficult emotion, physical sensation in my body that's uncomfortable. I see you. You're also part of the light. I can give you that. I can recognize that in you. So we can communicate with these experiences like that. And in some sort of paradoxical, miraculous way, often that's what they want to hear. The pain wants to just be seen without a label as if it's something bad or something to be rejected. And in time, hopefully these things can be released. Now, for those that are in difficult periods like this, for some it is constant. For months, it's constant. But I'm willing to bet for most, there are certain periods where there is some relief, some reprieve, some rest, some spaciousness opens up. See if we can flip our attention to what is opening up during those periods where there isn't so much difficulty arising. Pay attention to what's being, to the spaciousness that's opening up. Sometimes there's bliss that opens up. Sometimes there's literal pleasant feelings moving through the body that we may have never experienced before. Sometimes we can access deeper states of meditation. Pay attention to the benefits of this purification as well. See if we can, of course, acknowledge that this is not just uncomfortable stuff happening for no reason, coming out of nowhere. It's stuff being released and for a good reason, to give us access to some more peace. So if we can pay attention to that, it can help as well. But overall, Vicky, you keep going and know that you are walking the path of purification that all of the great saints, masters, mystics walk through themselves. It's no different. And it's not arrogant to think this. It's not arrogant to think that you are walking the same path as Buddha, as Christ. It's not arrogant. It's true. They went through the same type of purification and difficulty. So there's some sort of confidence that can arise knowing, I'm walking the path of the great masters, right? And so that can help us as well. But in time, like everything, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. It's a great question, Vicky, and I know you're not alone in this, not at all. And if you have some support for Vicky, you can type in the chat as well.